Right now, your bank is quietly draining your hard-earned money while smiling to your face. You think your savings account is a safe vault, but it is actually a highly profitable trap designed to keep you broke. What if I told you that the poorest customers are secretly paying for the perks of the rich? Welcome to the ultimate financial illusion. Today, we are exposing the exact dollar amount that terrifies your bank. But the truth about how they use your deposits is going to make your blood boil. Stick around until the very end, because I will reveal the one mathematical threshold that forces banks to start treating you like royalty. Let us look at two completely normal people, Francine and Seth. They work the exact same job, earn the exact same salary, and deposit their checks at the exact same bank. Seth has a tiny amount of money left in his account. Francine has reached the milestone of $100,000 saved up. Seth gets slammed with overdraft fees, maintenance charges, and cold automated rejection emails. Francine gets free coffee, a dedicated relationship manager, and waived fees across the board. Why? Because in the cold, ruthless world of banking, neutrality does not exist. Every single dollar you own is either working for you or actively working against you. If you are like Seth, you are simply renting money. You pay to borrow it, you pay to hold it, and you get penalized when you run out of it. Meanwhile, your bank takes your deposits and lends them out at massive interest rates. They might pay you $4 a year in interest while making $7,000 off your exact same money. It is a brilliant business model, assuming you are the one running the casino. Here is the most sickening statistic you will hear today. A tiny percentage of the poorest bank customers pay almost all of the overdraft fees. That is not a coincidence. That is the foundation of the entire consumer banking industry. Free checking accounts are not actually free. They are quietly subsidized by the financial suffering of people living closest to zero. The bank does not want you to be wealthy. They want you to be just broke enough to trigger endless penalties. You are their most profitable product. But Francine is a completely different story. Francine is a financial nightmare for the bank. Because she has a cushion, she never triggers a late fee. Because she has options, she moves her cash to places that pay actual high-yield interest. The bank loses the cheap spread and all the predatory penalty revenue. She has crossed the invisible boundary from being a profitable victim to a demanding liability. And that magical boundary is exactly $100,000. At this specific number, the physics of your wealth completely flip. If you invest steadily with a solid return, the math does something incredible. Once you cross that line, your money starts generating more cash in a year than your own physical contributions. Your portfolio essentially clocks in for work every morning. It makes its own coffee. It works silently in the background, never asking for a sick day or a vacation. You are no longer pushing the heavy car up the hill. The car is rolling on its own, and you are just steering the wheel. This is why building the first 100,000 is known as the hardest financial milestone of your life. It takes grueling years of extreme discipline to reach that first major peak. You will feel exhausted. You will feel like the system is rigged. You will want to quit. But if you survive that brutal climb, the second 100,000 takes only half the time. The compounding engine finally catches fire. The hardest money you will ever make is at the very bottom of the mountain. The last million is the easiest. If you simply leave that money alone, it will double and grow without you lifting a finger. The gap between Seth and Francine is not about intelligence or luck. It is purely about which side of the compounding ledger they stand on. Seth pays massive interest on debt, bleeding money every year for nothing. Francine earns thousands of dollars a year in passive growth while she sleeps comfortably. One is drowning in a financial undertow, while the other is riding a massive wave of capital. So how do you escape the trap? You must become completely obsessed with building your financial armor. Stop buying things to impress people who do not even care about you. Ruthlessly slash your expenses and funnel every spare dollar into investments. Every time you save a dollar, you are buying a tiny piece of your future freedom. When you finally reach that massive threshold, everything changes. You stop making panic decisions from a position of weakness. You no longer tolerate toxic jobs just because you need next Friday's paycheck. You laugh at the predatory car loans and payday traps. Scarcity makes you small, fearful, and easy to manipulate. Capital makes you patient, powerful, and impossible to corner. The bank knows exactly when you transform from prey into a predator. That is why they suddenly offer you premium status, waive fees, and must compete to keep you. They are not rewarding your loyalty. They are terrified you will take your massive leverage somewhere else. The house always wins until you decide to cash out your chips and walk away from the table. Stop renting money and start owning your life. The journey will be brutal, lonely, and frustrating at times. But crossing that line is the ultimate revenge against a system designed to keep you down. Your future self is begging you to start today.